Okay, so what I thought I'd do really, really quickly is just a short video to put that social work function video into context. And I want to describe to you the process of social work assessment. So I'm going to work from actual case in an actual team, say with over 11s, like the team that I worked with in Keighley. So you receive your case, it's allocated to you, sometimes you get told, sometimes you don't, sometimes it just turns up on your inbox, sometimes you'll get a meeting. You'll usually get a meeting with somebody to discuss that case and the overall. I was on a team where there would already have been an initial assessment done, so I would have the initial assessment that was done, and then immediately my job would be, as quickly as possible, to make sure that everybody within that case, so the child, the young person, their family, all the professionals that they worked with, professionals that they had worked with in the past, all the documents are reviewed, all the communication is reviewed, and that I have worked initially to build up a core assessment about that child which gives context to its life. So I want to know about the child themselves, the development, I want to know about the family environment that they're in as much as I can tell, and I want to know about the community environment that they're in and the wider political environment, and I want to know about all the different issues in this case. And what I'm doing initially is I'm building up a massive picture so that I can identify as accurately as I possibly can what are the key sources of crisis in this case. And then immediately I'm going to feed that back to a manager. And I'm going to say, I have done my assessment, and this is my assessment, and my assessment says that this is cause of concern, this will generate crisis. And if we do this, this, and this, and get access to this, we can probably prevent crisis and harm coming to that child. And the manager says no. And you know they're going to say no. And they're going to keep saying no. Because your job, after that point, is to make sure that you use careful observation and chronology. All the points in time when every manager, senior manager, wants to say no and it's telling you, no, we're not going to give you. And you're talking about children who are being, where you know that they are subject to kind of serious sexual exploitation. They're involved in really serious stuff. This is managers really saying no to things that they don't want anyone to know they're saying no to. And your job with a social work assessment is to use the power of careful observation and chronology to make sure that every time they say no, it is on file that they have said no. And that every time a senior manager says, no, you can't have this. And the game of social work assessment is not about that child, because you already knew from the beginning what that was. And you're constantly observing, and you're reflecting on your assessment, and you're reflecting on where you were wrong, and you're reflecting on what you now know that you didn't, and you're keeping an honest account of the way that you're perceiving things. You're reflecting on your own identity and the way that it's stopping you seeing. But the game that you are playing is nothing to do with that child. What you are playing is a game of making that child worth the resources that you need that manager to give to you. And that manager is beholden to senior manager and politicians and media who believe that every penny on that child is wasted. And those people are beholden to you. So because voters do not value this, and because voters are happy to demonise these children, your job is to be the person on the ground who is watching crisis grow, often watching harm to children, and to keep a clear view of it, and to keep a clear view of the core of the crisis, and to not get distracted by peripheral crisis, and to keep making sure that you are providing evidence so at the point in time comes where that child brings ding 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 ding, oh my god, I could be in the Daily Mail, in that manager's mind. You want to make sure that when you are talking to that manager, you are not assessing that child's family. You are assessing what is going to happen to that manager if they do not give you these resources. And you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to have a strong stomach for this game. And that is what it is to be the site of political responsibility for the care economy. And that's what social work assessment is. And the manager is looking at the money on the bottom line, and he's looking at how much shit he's going to get from above if he spends it. And he's looking at you to tell him whether or not his scalp is on the line if he doesn't spend it. And you have to develop a willingness to stand up to every single source of power and say, this child's scalp is worth yours. And that's what social work assessment is, and that's what it means to be the site of political responsibility for the care economy. That's how you get resources for families. And I thought that was maybe, if a tad cynical, it gives you an insight into what it is to be the site of political responsibility for the care economy that politicians and voters don't want to see.